Oh yeah. I'm gonna have fun playing with you. Can't wait to unbox you, plug you in, turn you on. It's gonna be a good time. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brandon, and in today's video, I'm going to be playing with Amazon's #1 selling plasma cutter, the BestArc BTC500DP. BestArc reached out to me and asked if they could send this plasma cutter to me if I would do a review video for them. So I'm going to give them an honest review. And the first thing I want to point out, straight out of the outer shipping box, this side is pretty crushed in, where the shipping box had no damage to it at all. So somewhere along the line, whether it was at Amazon's warehouse or maybe this came straight from BestArc, I don't know, this box got crushed. I'm hoping that the packaging on the inside is good enough that the machine isn't damaged. So let's get this thing unboxed and take a look at what's inside. All right guys, so I got the box open and I was hoping that the damage on this corner was in an area where they packaged some of the extras where the machine itself was intact, and it looks like that was true. So the machine looks fine. This is some pretty good packing. This is some really thick foam. The machine itself looks fine, and let's continue on with the unboxing. Packaging out of that box was actually really well. They used some pretty good foam on the packaging of the machine itself so it doesn't get damaged in transit. The accessory box got a little damage, which is no big deal. I'm going to unpack all the accessories and lay it out here on my table. That way you guys have a good idea of what all comes in the box if you were to pick up one of these machines. We have an extra airline. We have the ground clamp. We have a baggie full of extra like contact tips and thread tape. We have the user manual. So the machine itself is set up for a 220, and we have a 220 to 110 adapter just in case you guys don't have 220 volts accessible. And then last but not least, we have the torch itself. And then we have a little tool for doing things and changing out the tips and stuff. So now that we have everything unboxed, let's go over the key features real quick and take a look at the actual machine itself, and then we'll go out to the shop and we'll do some torture testing. We'll do some practical use testing with it. It displays nice and bright and it's easy to read. It displays your airflow and your amperage or your current. Right now it's flashing an error message because it has air sensor technology. So when air is not plugged in or supplied to the machine, it'll pop up with that error message. The minute you plug air into it, that message will go away, and you'll be able to adjust it here with this knob by pulling it out and then twisting, and then you push it back in to lock it in place. This button here, we have cut and we have air. So cut is when you're ready to make your cut, but when you squeeze this trigger, the airflow through the machine goes down. So a nice feature is you move it to air, and that's gonna blow air through the machine as if you're making a cut, and it'll allow you to more accurately tune your airflow through the tip. Moving over here to 2T and 4T. 2T, you're gonna squeeze the trigger, make your cut, release the trigger, and it stops. 4T, you're gonna squeeze the trigger, let go, make your cut, and then to get it to stop, you gotta squeeze the trigger and let go. Moving over here, we have post flow and pilot arc. Post flow is when you're done making your cut, air is gonna still continue to flow through your torch, and what that's gonna do is it saves on your cutting tips and it prolongs the life of your torch. The machine is defaulted to 3 seconds. It can go anywhere from 3 seconds to 15 seconds. When we're actually making cuts, we'll move it up to like 6 or 7 seconds, somewhere in there. And then it's got a pilot arc feature, and that can be adjusted anywhere from 1 second to 15 seconds. So now that we got the key features out of the way, let's actually go put that to the test I'm more of a hands-on kind of guy. I could talk about what they do, but if I don't see what they do, it doesn't do anything for me. Enough of me talking, let's go out to the shop and see this thing in action. Setting up is really easy. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hook up the threaded whip end. I'm gonna screw it in there nice and tight. All right, and then we have our red cable. That's gonna go where the red cap is. And then our black cable has 2 prongs on it, and it goes in one way. And then last is gonna be the ground cable, and this goes in one way. And then you twist. Next, we're gonna plug in the air compressor. All right, now we're gonna turn the machine on. No more error message now that we have air supplied. It's currently set at 63 PSI for 15 amps, which is a little high. So how do we fix that? We're gonna come over here from cut. We're gonna go to air. And we're just gonna bring that down. All right, next we need to set our amps, and we're gonna be starting off with some really thin 20 gauge galvanized steel. So I'm gonna bump that up to about 20 to 25 amps, somewhere in there. Our PSI is good. We got green bars and red bars. If you go too high, it'll turn red on you, letting you know that you have too much pressure. All right, try it again. took the stand off because as I'm making my pass, it started like getting gummed up with all the slag and it kept sticking to the table or to my cutting piece and made it so I can't cut what I need to cut. All right, it's getting better, cuts way better without the guard on there. So, nice clean cut. Cuts way better without the guard on there. This is a leaf spring off of a semi-trailer. So it's about a little over 1/2 inch here, and it gets wider to probably 3/4 of an inch on the other side. Machine is maxed out. and we're gonna see what happens. All right guys, so as you've seen, it did struggle cutting that leaf spring. That was more of a test of would it cut rusty metal, and it did. The leaf spring is too thick. It's 1 inch on one side and a little over a 1/2 inch on the other. It cut what I needed to. If I flipped it over, I think it would cut all the way through. It's almost cut through now. I think it's just a little bit holding it on the back side. The struggles that I had with the 3/8 inch plate cutting these pieces out was all because of that. That's the standoff to the torch, and as you're making your cut, the slag would build up on it and stick to your workpiece, and it caused me to not be able to continue pulling smoothly. Once I took that off, you've seen that I was able to make the other cuts a lot more smoothly and a lot cleaner. The other issue I had was the ground clamp. I forgot to put it on there, and my air compressor kept popping the breaker. So at one point I thought the regulator in the machine went bad because I couldn't turn the dial and I couldn't get any air pressure in the machine. So then I figured out that my circuit breaker popped. My fault, not the machine's fault. The one issue I do have that I think they could easily fix, I want a longer cord. In order for me to use this, I have to be literally in the doorway to my barn, almost outside. Like you guys on the camera are outside right now, filming inside. This could easily be fixed. It doesn't take much to put a longer extension or a longer cord on it. And I think my next video is going to be me making a 220 volt extension cord so I can work in my shop where I want to work. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to leave a link down in the description below if you want to check this out. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.